Greetings. The subject of this module and presentation is visioning. Visioning is an integral part of the leadership development process, particularly when one is trying to lead a group or team. This presentation will give an overview of the concept of visioning. There will first be an introduction of the concept of visioning and its importance in the leadership process. Visioning is made up of two equally important elements: ideation and effective communication. This presentation will examine both elements of visioning, as well as provide some effective tips for brainstorming an excellent vision. To understand the importance of visioning, one must separate themselves from the typical planning and organizing that goes with managing an organization or team. Visioning should remain a primarily big picture affair. Visioning is not the place to answer questions such as, how are we going to get there? Or what strategic decisions can we make to achieve our goals effectively? Visioning should instead provide a clear picture of what an organization or group wants to be and why this is important to your identity. Visioning is for dreaming big. An important point to remember is that visioning is not related or really interested in the how or when of leadership. These questions typically relate to the next step of action or processes that will lead to more effective teamwork. While your vision will ultimately affect how you work as an organization or team and affect that team's effectiveness at working together, a vision should be prescriptive of policy or procedure, not descriptive. A vision describes identity and values. Once an identity has been established and the team or organizational values have been described, then a leader can begin to answer questions about what the best way to achieve goals and tasks will be. Another key element of the visioning process is communicating your vision effectively. This element is just as important as the actual identity and values a leader would like to instill in their organization or team. A well thought out vision that encapsulates the historical, contextual, and relevant values of an organization or team is meaningless if it cannot be communicated to your followers effectively. In summary, it's important to keep in mind that clear and concise communication is integral to effective visioning. We will delve more into this idea in the effective tips section of this presentation, but for now, keep in mind that effective vision casting requires a balance between the length and depth of the explanation of your vision. If you focus too much on trying to explain your vision, you will lose your audience. If you use language that is too esoteric and focuses too closely on facts and figures, you will also lose the attention and, more importantly, the imagination of your followers. At its most fundamental level, visioning focuses on the destination of an organization or team. A good vision will answer the question, wouldn't it be nice if? Wouldn't it be great if? Visioning should also be delineated from strategy. Strategy is concerned with the steps and best method of getting to a destination. Visioning is simply focused on the destination itself. The primary reason for this is that what an organization or team values about what it wants to go, of where it wants to go, also says a lot about where they have been and what motives drive them. A leader does well to incorporate the values and identity markers of her followers into the work of the team. The founding of an organization or team has an impact on the effective operation of the group. While an organization or team is not ultimately linked to the historical vision or goals of its founders, it's impossible to vision cast effectively without taking the legacy of the founding into account. The reason for this is that the historical past leaves an indelible footprint on the structure, form, and content of any organization or team. It's important to keep a vision authentic. A leader should take into account the interests, values, and identities of her followers, but that does not mean that a vision should only pander to the perceived interests of followers. A leader must take into account their personal values and the reasons for where they want the team or organization to go. Followers are much more likely to trust the vision of a leader that is confident in their own perspective. And authenticity also conveys that the leader is willing to trust the followers. Mutual trust breeds effective leadership and teamwork. Also, if a vision comes across as disingenuous its sustainability for the long run might be put into jeopardy. Effectively communicating a vision is equally as important as forming a vision that fits with the desires of your organization or team. The ideation and brainstorming element of visioning and the communication element of visioning rely deeply on each other. The methods you choose to communicate with your followers will illuminate truths about their identities, values, and the motivational tools they respond to. Conversely, the type of vision and the ultimate destination you chart for your team or organization will help shape the message you choose to craft. It's important to balance the length of your message with the specificity towards your organization or team. An effective vision is clear about its ultimate goals and concise enough that your followers can remember them. An effective vision also carries a broad enough appeal that those who are not direct participants in your team or organization can understand its meaning. If too much specific information and special terminology or language that is related to the team or organization is used, the emotional impact of the message might be lost. This does not mean, however, that terminology related to the work of the team cannot be used, but this language should not overwhelm the message. A good vision will create a sense of empathy among its intended audience. This is important because most individuals find motivation in things that move them emotionally. For a vision to have a lasting impact, it must tap into the emotional core of the organization or team. This also plays into the importance of balancing team-specific language with wording that could be applied to anyone. The basis of a good vision relies on transforming an element of empathy among followers into action. While it might come across as obvious, it is important to remain positive during the vision casting process. There are other elements of leadership and team development that will account for the challenges that any group will face, but the visioning process is an inherently hopeful event. Dream big, and try not to get caught up worrying about the challenges until later in the process. The key to effective visioning is to help ensure that you keep in mind both the need to brainstorm efficiently and to communicate effectively. For brainstorming and ideation, ensure that you focus on the big picture and leave the strategic planning for later. Visioning is about identity development and value formation, not strategic planning. It's also important to balance the context and reality of your individual followers and the context of the team or organization that you lead. Keep the language you use in your message balanced between context-specific language to your team so that it relates to your work, but also make sure that it's general enough to engender a personal sense of commitment and empathy in your followers. Along with this PowerPoint presentation, make sure that you check out the additional readings and handouts that go along with this module, particularly the Success handout. This module is designed to give you the tools you need to both brainstorm an effective vision and communicate it efficiently. Thank you very much for examining this PowerPoint presentation, and good luck with your visioning.